Continue our story with planet Trypticon being, well, I guess you could say descended upon by Orga and Gigan, but he's also surrounded by the Vortag fleet. And keep in mind, they're not attacking just yet, so Trypticon does have some time. Still being somewhat injured from his time throughout the multiverse, or being thrown through the multiverse by the Escalon blade. And this is where he simply states, "Who are you?" And so Varanki projects herself on a larger screen. Pretty much, sorry, not Varanki, Hortakia pretty much introduced herself on a much larger hollow screen, stating that Trypticon seems to have materials that would be useful to her. He could easily stand down, come with her and serve. They could repair him and build him better than what he ever was before. And Trypticon simply laughed, stating, "You think I'll serve you? I have no master." To which Vortakis simply states, "Oh, you will. And I'm going to enjoy converting you into my ultimate weapon." To which Trypticon then states, "I will die before I serve you." To which Vortakia says, "Either way, this is going to work out for me," and simply tells him to attack. Trypticon tries to fire off an energy blast, but is immediately countered by Orga, using a superior blast from his shoulder cannon. And then Gigan, utilizing his teleportation, gets around Trypticon and then slashes at his arm or his shoulder cannons, actually cutting one off here. And Trypticon is in disbelief. What? What the heck? How did that happen? He grabs his own shoulder cannon and tries to put it back on, but something's wrong. You keep in mind, Trypticon never noticed this because he was so, I guess you could say, fixated on his success. He never thought about the repercussions of it. He used up the symbiotic stone's properties, its merging, its regeneration. He doesn't have it anymore. And so this means that Orga and Gigan can actually pick him apart. Before Trypticon can really react, Gigan slices off his another one. Orga punches him right in the gut. Trypticon gets so desperate, he grabs a nearby planet and hurls it at him, only for Orga to open his giant maw and opens it wide enough to consume the entire planet before returning to his normal size. That actually is like a very scary thought now that I think about it, because you know how Orga opens that mouth wide to absorb things. So yeah, imagine him being able to do that on a much larger scale, but he still can like go into his normal body as if nothing happened. Yeah, I think I terrified myself. I think I probably need to pee a little. You know, it's just it is what it is. But again, Trypticon gets overwhelmed. Orga's energy blast, Gigan's energy blast, saw blades and everything. Trypticon even tries to flee, but he can't because he never realized his thrusters were damaged. Oh my god. He says to himself, "No, this can't be." He's helpless. For the first time since he had awakened, he's helpless. He's never had this before. He doesn't have anything left except his physicals. But again, not enough. Orga matches him in physical strength and begins to overpower him because of Trypticon's damaged state. Because he was so arrogant that he used up everything he had. From the Dark Energon to the symbiotic stone, he used it all up. And unfortunately, he's at their mercy. And this is where Vertakia simply states, "Look at you. You look so weak, so disdainful. And to think you called yourself mighty. From the looks of it, I might have files on you, considering I did experiment on a Cybertronian myself. Or, you know, for my people's sake, I did." And this is where she pulls up his file. "Ah, Trypticon, the weapon of the Decepticons. Or former weapon of the Decepticons, I should say. It's actually quite amusing, in my opinion, that you are still here to this very day. And look at you, unable to fight, move, or even attack. All you have is your physical strength, and you have nothing now. And again, I'm offering you something. I'll allow you to even keep your sentience. Besides, Gigan and Orga have theirs. They're just under my control. They serve me. Ah, my dear Trypticon, you could have made this easier on yourself. But I'm feeling generous. It's not too late, you know. Not too late to give up and serve your new master. To serve your new queen. So how about it, Trypticon? Are you going to be a good boy and yield? Or are you going to continue fighting until you're nothing more than scrap metal? And Trypticon hates what he's about to do. He hates what he's about to say. Every urge of him is telling him, no, don't do it. Please do not do it. But ultimately, he caves in. Trypticon tells Varanki that, or Taki, I keep calling him Varanki, I'm so sorry, is a Power Ranger villain, but Vortakia, he tells Vortakia, I, Trypticon, yield. To which he says, goody, 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 Orga, an EMP to dull his pain. To which Orga unleashes an electromagnetic pulse, knocking out Trypticon. And so Gigan then flies over to Trypticon's body. He's now just laying there in space, a shell of his former self. And, well, it's actually quite amusing when you think about it, right? Trypticon himself, the Titan of Terror from What If Trypticon was in Transformers Prime, right? Now being reduced to someone else's servant. He fought to get away from Megatron's control, to literally beating Unicron and absorbing him, to now being this, someone else's weapon. Irony, isn't it? And so Gigan does use his grappling hooks to drag Trypticon across space as the fleet actually follows, or at least the fleet behind the mothership actually follows. And keep in mind, Orga's actually like using his strength to push Trypticon to actually make the trip a whole lot smoother to where they're going. And well, it takes them, I know space travel is a little bit difficult when you can't really tell the time of it, but let's say the fleet actually takes around 2 days. Bare minimum, 2 days, you know. They're able to cross some distance pretty good to their next planet, or at least one of their own planets, the factory planet, where they're actually seeing servants working diligently from, on their planet. This planet was conquered long ago and made into the Exilians factory facility. There we see a bunch of species, Typhlins, orcs, and dragons. The main predominant species that once lived on this planet, now being forced into slave labor. Dragons of all kinds and sizes, as you pretty much see from the two images before you, they're pretty simple, though, pretty straightforward here. And this is where we also see who's leading them. Their queen, the Empress, or former Empress, Alexstrasza, now once a queen of many things, now reduced to the queen of slaves, of workers, of laborers, beings that normally would have done it for free will and to make their economy better, now are just there collectively making anything at their own expense. And Vortakio arrives, saying, Alexstrasza, my dear, how was the work treating you? I assure you that everything will be just fine as long as you continue to serve. Into which Alexstrasza in her dragon form simply states, and how long do you expect us to serve? Vortakia. To which Vortakia hits a device causing an immense amount of pain to surge through her. And she says, that is Lord Vortakia to you. And I will free your planet in, when I feel like it. But right now, I have a work for you to do. To which Alexstrasza finally gets up from her pained state and simply asks, what do you want? And Vortakia is like, oh, goody, I'm glad you asked. And this is where they bring Trypticon into the orbit and drop him not on the factory itself, but at least outside of it. And she states, I want you to dismantle it and put it back together in this liking, giving her schematics. And she states, I would have done ASAP. No breaks, no feeding, no nothing. Get to work, little minion. And so days, weeks, months go by as Trypticon's body is torn apart and reconstructed. The dragons, typhlins, and orcs are basically never getting a rest at this point. It's actually a shame, really. But again, he is converted into Vortakia's ideal weapon, giving a reinforced hull with the likes of space titanium, metal made from a black hole, and combined with a supernova power core mixed with his dark energon essence, Mechagodzilla is born, or Trypticon 2.0. However, this is where the base is attacked by Heart Eater. You must say, whoa, 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 who's this? Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. He's going to get his own special as well. Maybe I'll give him his own series as well, because I got plans for this one right here. And Vortakia states, ugh, him again? How dare you interfere with my work? You've been a constant thorn in the Vortak Empire's side. And now I will make sure that that thorn is finally taken out. And so she sends Gigan and Orga against Heart Eater. But this isn't even close. Heart Eater dismantles both of them like they're nothing. Gigan comes in for a blade swing. He dodges and utilizes his cannon to blast Gigan, sending him far and back. Orga tries to grab him. However, he converts his cannon into a sword and slices it up. But Orga simply regenerates and keeps going. So he puts both his hands together and makes a whole... honestly, I think I would definitely have to say it's a railgun at this point, and fires off this crimson energy that blows a hole through Orga's chest. He'll regenerate, don't worry, but again, he's out for a bit. And this is where he sets his sights on the Exilian fleet and actually begins to target the mothership. However, this is where a blast hits him straight in the back. And this is where Trypticon is finally activated. Didn't take him long too, because again of the amount of power he has. And so during this fight here, it's actually proven to be a stalemate. Trypticon's power versus Heart Eater's versatility is actually pretty good. Heart Eater even managed to outsmart Trypticon and actually gets a good stab on him. However, Trypticon's new metal is self-regenerating, especially with the Dark Energon core combined with the Supernova and I almost forgot the Symbiotic Stone. So now he's got a regenerative property. However, this is where Gigan comes in, slashing at his chest, and Orga piles in as well, using his physical strength to overwhelm Heart Eater, along with Trypticon utilizing his Dark Nova beam to actually injure Heart Eater. While he does regenerate, he sees that now is not a good time to fight him. So this is where he actually creates a smoke screen, a crimson smoke screen, mind you, that blinds everyone, and he takes off into the stars, being gone for God knows how long. And this is where we actually end off with Vortakia simply stating, you've been more than I expected, my dear Trypticon. Now we head to Earth to finally harvest the remains of Unicron and build ourselves an army like never before. And this is where we actually see Trypticon let out a roar and turning it into a maniacal laughter. But that's gonna be all today, guys. Please comment down below, like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and I'll see you guys for what if Heart Eater was in Transformers Prime, and then what if Kiryu Optimus was also in Transformers Prime. Peace.